Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. And this movie is directed by Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, if I pronounced that correctly, the same director as Birdman and The Revenant, two movies that I really enjoyed. And those are the only movies I've seen from him. I know he did movies before that, I just haven't gotten around to them quite yet. And this movie was on Netflix, so it was really easy for me to watch, and I like this movie, and it is a challenging film in the sense that it wants you to think about it, and it's not a movie like you watch and then right when you're done with it, you like sit on it for like a couple of minutes and then, well, that's the movie. I think I like it. It actually wants you to take like a decent amount of time for you to think about it, because if you do that, then you are rewarded for it, and the movie will get better for you if you think about it, I feel. And this movie is kind of out there, and it doesn't really hold back at certain points. And for those of you who've seen Birdman, there are points in that movie where, say, Michael Keaton, he's just floating, and there's no, like, logic to it at all. And imagine taking that, but having that in this movie as well, like some of that unrealistic stuff, but having it be more out there and just be kind of crazy. And it's not like the most out there movie ever. It's just taking these ideas and just really exploring them and showing them in a unique way. In terms of like how it's presented. And this movie's over 2.5 hours long, and personally I would have preferred if it was shorter. I do think this movie's too long, especially at the points where it decides to go really far out there and really crazy and artfully presenting itself and all that kind of stuff. While I'm fine with it doing that, both on paper and how it portrays it in the film, not every time, but the overwhelming majority of the times when it does that, notice how I said majority and not most, is like around half of the time when it does that, it kind of just goes on for too long, and the pacing comes to a grinding halt, and nothing's really being progressed, and I'm just waiting for something to happen or wait for an idea to be communicated to me. And it is a very slow movie for me, and I did enjoy watching it, and this is a movie that I feel as though I would get more out of upon multiple viewings. And the movie also really looks nice, and each shot is beautiful to look at, and there was clearly a lot of thought put into this movie and care, and it never once felt cynical to me. It always felt like this was coming from a genuine place, and I did like it based on that alone. And you can tell that there's a voice here, and there were points in this movie where it did kind of remind me of Eraserhead. Not in a way that I found to be distracting, but rather it kind of reminded me of that in terms of like how it was using these things just to express some ideas that the film wanted to explore. And it is very unique. I can't really think of a whole lot of movies that are like this movie. I can think of a couple that are similar to it, like Birdman and Eraserhead. In ways that those films are similar, like in terms of how they're presented. Most importantly, if you're going to watch this movie, just keep in mind that this is not a movie for everyone, and it might be a little irritating to get through, and all the artfully presented elements of the film, that's just what I'm going to call them now, it's mostly in the first half, and because of it going on for too long, these ideas, it did drag down the pacing for me and make it feel a lot longer than it actually was. But once you get into like I don't know, an hour through the movie, that's where the movie starts to pick up for me. I know that kind of sounds like a big chore to sit through, but you're going to have to wait a bit in order to get into the meat of what the film is. And after you finish the movie, then it might make you feel differently about that first however long of the movie. And for me, it kind of did. And I would like to see it a second time. And I just feel as though my experience might change a bit if I were to watch it more than once. And that's about all I have to say about Bardo. It's a good movie. It's not for everyone, so don't go into this movie expecting to like it as much as I did, because, like I said, it's not for everyone, and it's kind of hard to describe specifically why that's the case, so with just like summing it up into just like one thing. And it's very different from a lot of movies I've seen, and if you're willing to watch something that's different, then check this movie out. And if you liked movies like Birdman and The Revenant, well, Birdman specifically, because that's more in line of what this movie is, I think you'll like this movie. I don't know if you'll like it better or worse than those two movies that I just mentioned, but this movie is its own thing, so check it out if you want. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for not another teen movie, so look forward to that. But until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.